He's here.
Stranger Things took Netflix by storm in 2016, and fans loved its unique blend of horror, sci-fi, nostalgia, humor, and relatable characters. It's tough to put all those things together, but there are actually many lesser-known shows that are doing the exact same things as well or better. We hope that Stranger Things continues its successful run, but it's far from the only act in town. If you're interested in finding some gems that some say are actually better than Stranger Things, stay tuned for our list of similar shows. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on, so you don't miss any of the new videos we post. Okay, with that done, let's get to our countdown of 8 shows similar to Stranger Things that some say are actually better. First, we have The Umbrella Academy, based on a comic book series of the same name. Much like Stranger Things, the show features characters with special abilities. More specifically, the story begins at 12 p.m. on October 1st, 1989, when 43 women scattered all over the world gave birth simultaneously, despite none of them showing any signs of pregnancy beforehand. How's that for a mysterious hook? The show follows 7 of these children, who turned out to have special abilities, and who were adopted by a billionaire named Sir Reginald Hargreaves to form a superhero team. Hargreaves simply refers to them as 1 through 7, but the humanoid robot designed by Hargreaves to be their mother gives them all their names. While there are no Demogorgons or Mind Flayer to battle by the members of the Umbrella Academy, the show has a lot in common with Stranger Things, and there is plenty of action to keep viewers on the edge of their seats. There are currently 20 episodes of the show across 2 seasons that have been released on Netflix, and there are 10 more on their way for a 3rd season that does not yet have an official release date. Okay, do you want another show with a telepathic protagonist of incredible power? How about in space this time? If this sounds like something you'd like, then look no further than Night Flyers. This sci-fi series was just 1 season, so if you're looking for something relatively short and contained, this could be a good choice for you. It is based on the novella and short stories of the same name by George R.R. Martin, who is famously writing the Song of Ice and Fire series that HBO's Game of Thrones was based on. In the series, Night Flyers is the name of the advanced ship whose crew has set out to establish first contact with alien lifeform. In order to attempt to communicate with them, they have brought a Thale, a level 1 telepath that they must keep away from the rest of the crew who fear his powers. The crew quickly learns that very little is as it seems, and the show excels in the space horror genre as they learn about just who or what they are making contact with. The show premiered in 2018 and is still streaming on Netflix. Our 3rd pick for a show similar to Stranger Things, and possibly better, is very hard to describe. It's called The OA, and it stars Britt Marling, who co-created the show with Zal Batmanglij. Marling plays Prairie Johnson, who mysteriously returns after having just as mysteriously disappeared 7 years prior. What's more, she was blind before her disappearance, and now can see. She calls herself the OA, which stands for the Original Angel, and claims to be able to open a door to another dimension where others are being held captive, but needs help. She recruits a ragtag group from a local high school, 4 students and a teacher, and convinces them to help her after telling them her life story. Is it fantasy? Is it science fiction? Whatever it is, it hooks you and doesn't let go. Playing the smooth but nefarious antagonist, Dr. Hap Percy, is Jason Isaacs, who is the one holding Prairie's companions captive and experimenting on them. The show ended on a cliffhanger after 2 8-episode seasons, but credible rumors began to circulate in May 2021 that a 3rd season may be in the works after all. Like its multi-dimensional rival Stranger Things, this show is still streaming on Netflix. For our 4th show that many think is even better than Stranger Things, we go deeper into the time vault to find the show Fringe. Fringe was created by J.J. Abrams and originally aired on Fox for 5 seasons, from 2008 until 2013. It stars Anna Torv as Agent Olivia Dunham, who is recruited for the FBI's Fringe division after an airplane lands in Boston with no survivors, including the pilots. Dunham begins to display telepathic abilities, much like Eleven from Stranger Things, and the reasons for these abilities are slowly revealed as the show's overarching plot lines play out. The show co-stars Joshua Jackson as Peter Bishop, who's brought into the Fringe division as a special consultant. His main role is to blur some lines that Agent Dunham isn't allowed to, display plenty of flexible thinking, and to serve as a sort of interpreter for his brilliant but alternatingly disturbed, silly, and absent-minded father Walter, played to perfection by John Noble. Walter was involved in some pioneering science before finding himself in an insane asylum, and his expertise provides crucial in solving the Fringe division's cases that blur the lines between science and science fiction. If you missed this show on its original run, you can find it on Prime Video to see the Fringe division investigate strange occurrences involving special abilities, shapeshifters, alternate dimensions, and time travelers. Raising Dion is the 5th show on our list of shows similar to Stranger Things. This one focuses on Nicole, a widowed mother trying to raise her son Dion after the death of her husband, only to find out that he has some superhuman abilities. It's kind of like the relationship between Elle and Hopper in Stranger Things, but just imagine if Hopper didn't know that Elle had superpowers. Even more, it turns out that the father and husband, in a reoccurring role played by executive producer Michael B. Jordan, wasn't just a weather-obsessed research scientist, but also had secret abilities that he never told his wife about. While this is certainly a start full of tragedy and intrigue, its ability to be family-friendly while also tackling real-life and supernatural terror is something that it shares with Stranger Things. It's a heartfelt take on the personal side of superpowers, falling somewhere in between Stranger Things and Disney's The Incredibles. Its first season was 9 episodes long, and it's already been greenlit for a second season on Netflix. Our 6th pick for shows similar, and maybe better than Stranger Things, is Shadow and Bone. Shadow and Bone comes from a series of novels by Leigh Bardugo, and is the most fantasy-driven show on this list. It follows an orphan named Alina Starkov, played by Jessie May Lee, and takes place in what is called the Grishaverse. Alina discovers that she is among the Grisha of this world, and has the rare power to summon light as powerful as the sun. This power brings many enemies, and Alina needs to learn about her abilities quickly in order to both defend herself and join the fight against the Shadowfall, a malevolent storm that has been ravaging her world for centuries. To make the fantastical world convincing, it's primarily filmed in Budapest, Hungary, for some old-world feel, and Vancouver, Canada, for its rugged landscape. The show premiered on Netflix in April of 2021, and its popularity and critical acclaim have already led it to an approval for a second season. For our 7th selection, we bring you Sense8. This story, created by the Wachowskis of the Matrix trilogy fame, focuses on 8 psychically and emotionally linked strangers. They gained this power when a woman called Angelica killed herself to escape capture by a man called Whispers. Throughout the first season, these 8 people struggle to live their daily lives while trying to understand both how and why they are connected to each other. To make matters worse, they are being hunted by a sinister organization called the Biological Preservation Organization, or BPO, whose mission is to eliminate them. They realize they are of many sensates, the name for groups that share this kind of psychic connection, and the BPO sees their abilities as a threat to humankind. The show was canceled by Netflix after 2 seasons, but was given a 2.5-hour series finale in June of 2018 that allowed them to resolve a major cliffhanger, satisfy fans, and receive an Emmy for the final season. Our final show for our list of shows similar to Stranger Things is The Magicians, which wrapped its 5th and final season on Sci-Fi in April 2020. While this focuses on a group of 20-somethings rather than some awkward middle schoolers, it still gives off some serious Stranger Things vibes, as they discover that Fillory, a Narnia-esque fantasy world they read about as children, is very real and very, very dangerous. This group of friends attends the magical Breakbills University, and they must choose how to use their newfound knowledge and power in spellcasting to help save humanity from the destruction of magic. While certainly evoking a Harry Potter Goes to College vibe, we think that Stranger Things is the better comparison. After all, a group of friends discovering another world that threatens our own sounds a lot more like Elle and the Gang with the Upside Down than it does grabbing some butterbeer in Diagon Alley. And that will wrap it up. Those were our 8 picks for shows that are similar to Stranger Things and that some people think are actually even better. None of them hit the 80s nostalgia quite as hard, but the horror, comedy, suspense, and supernatural elements are found in spades. What do you think? Did we miss a show you think could go on this list? Let us know in the comments down below. And we'll see you for our next video.